Hi everyone, good day. My name is Dr. Wan and I'm here to talk about BHB or pap, puff puff and beans. That is the topic for today, and I just want to draw your attention on the negative side in it. I know it is a decent meal, it is accessible to everyone, so it's not that expensive, so you can easily buy it without any trouble. That's the good thing there, the economic aspect of this BHP. But the negative aspect now is the impact that it has for certain group of people. If you are under 30 years of age, then I will say, okay, you can eat it the way you want. But when you are over 30, it becomes of concern, and also your medical condition. So we'll go into the biochemistry of these pap, beans, and puff puff, known in French as BHB. The first thing here is to look at the way it is being prepared. It is of great concern here because the beans, first of all, is good. Beans, I will tell you the positive part of beans. Beans has what we call fibers. It has the soluble and the non-soluble fiber. So meaning that if you are eating beans, especially the black one, they are marvelous in the sense that they slow down aging because they work at the level of the chromatids. So the telomeres now tend to shorten slowly. That's the good news for those of you eating black beans, not pink. So it has now that fiber aspect, the non-soluble fiber that helps now to slow down the chromatids. So aging is being slow here. Apoptosis is being held on. It doesn't go as fast as someone eating any other type of beans like the white one or the pink. Now, if you look at the skin of the beans, it has the pectin. Now, that pectin now is of great concern in the sense that they can easily interact with the parietal cells of your stomach, or what we call the stomach lining. So they tend to create what we call leaky gut. That leaky gut is chronic, especially when you are over 50. It becomes really a big issue. It creates kind of a perforated wall because they contain a protein called lectin. That lectin is a big issue here. Human beings at that age find it harder to break down or metabolize that protein, whereas the younger generations, they can break it down. So that's one big thing here when you are living on beans. Let's assume that the beans is baked. If it's baked, then it's a different story. But what makes it worse is when you fry it. When you fry that beans, it's okay. But the question is, that business lady who does the BHB, do you think she changes this oil regularly? That's the big question. It's up to you to judge it. You go there as a consumer, but you don't know how many times she has dipped in beans in that oil and keep dispensing it to you people. So that oil now has undergone another stage, which we will talk about it. It's terrible. It has undergone what we call oxidization. So what you are being eating now is nothing but toxic in that case. Because when oil undergoes oxidization, it is detrimental in the sense that it attacks the vital organs. For instance, look at your pancreas. I would suggest you conduct an experiment. Say, stay for 6 months without going for BHB. And then take the BHB, check your liver, the blood values of your liver, and check also your pancreas sensitivity. And then go now and start consuming BHB for another 6 months, and go back to the hospital and check again the blood value of your liver, what we call liver biochemistry, as well as the output of your pancreas. You'll be surprised that the two values will not be the same. So we will come into the details later on. So let me go to the next one. You have puff puff. That puff puff, what is it in the first place? It's made up of flour, that is the saccharides. So that flour now breaks down into sugars. So you see now, that's another component of sugar coming in. Then you look into the pap itself, another component of sugar coming in. You look into the beans itself. There's also another sugar coming in, even though it is less. So you end up having sugar from 3 different sources. So imagine you going to check for what we'll call glycemic index or glycemic indices, because beans has a glycemic index. Pap has a glycemic index which is higher, and puff puff obviously has a higher glycemic index. So putting it together, this is a time bomb, not only for diabetes but also for cardiovascular condition. And these are some of the things that you guys neglect. And then the story doesn't end there. The fact that there's frying here involved for the beans and the puff puff creates that room for AGEs. AGE stands for advanced glycation end products. Advanced glycation end products are killer. They are silent killer because they go in your system, they attack your capillaries and the arteries, and why not the veins of your body. When those structures are being attacked, they loses what we call their flexibility. So you realize that as time goes by, your blood pressure tends to spike because those tissues, they are no more flexible as they used to be. The story doesn't end there. Another issue here is plaque. Plaque is easily formed in those who have excess of advanced glycated end product in their system. When you start having such issue, believe me, diabetes is just at your doorstep. There's no joke about this. So these are some of the things that you need to know. You need to also take your life in your own hands. Look at things the right way. Do the right things for you to live decently. So another key thing here is the hygienic concern. Do you know how that pap was prepared? Pap undergoes fermentation, so that's another time bomb within your body. So imagine you taking pap, taking puff puff, taking BHB, or what we call beans, pap, and puff puff. So those 3 things together. So you put yourself at a higher risk. So having said that, let's look at the consequences. As I was saying before, fried foods are high in calories. You need to know that. Now, deep frying is a common cooking method used across the globe. Restaurants and fast food chains often use it as a quick and inexpensive way to prepare food. Popular Fried foods include fish, French fries, chicken strips, and cheese sticks, although you can deep fry just about anything. Now, compared to other cooking methods, deep fried food adds a lot of calorie. Fried foods are typically coated in butter or flour before being fried. And when foods are fried in oil, they lose water and absorb fat, which further increases their calories. So you see what I am saying? So when you squeeze that puff puff and drop it in that pot of oil, that's what happens here. There's no more water inside, but fat now gets in. And worst of all is when that oil is not changed. That's when big trouble comes in. Generally speaking, fried foods are significantly higher in fats and calories than the non-fried counterpart. So the non-fried counterpart here is baking. When you bake your food, it's completely a different thing. But when you fry it, you see what I am saying. So it's up to you. You take your life at your own destiny. Fried foods are typically high in trans fat. That's another one. And trans fat kills you slowly. Trans fat form when unsaturated fats undergo a process called hydrogenation. So that's what is killing people here. Hydrogenation is terrible. Food manufacturers often hydrogenate fats using high pressure and hydrogen gas to increase their shelf life and stability. But hydrogenation also occurs when oils are heated to very high temperature during cooking. The process changes the chemical structures of fats, making them difficult for your body to break down when it comes to consumption. And this also ultimately leads to a negative health effect. In fact, trans fats are associated with an increased risk of many health conditions, including heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and obesity. Since fried foods are cooked in oil at extremely high temperatures, they are likely to contain trans fat. What is more, fried foods are often cooked in processed vegetable or seed oils, which may contain trans fat before heating. When these oils are heated to high temperatures, such as during frying, their trans fat content can increase. In fact, one study found out that each time an oil is reused for frying, its trans fats contain increase. So you see what I was just saying here. The number of times that they throw this puff flour in that oil without changing it, you are at high risk. Say for instance, those who went to these BHB parlors, or call them restaurants, the first one, they are less hypercaloric. That's the first quantity of puff prepared. But as this person keep producing it and not changing the oil, you are at high risk. Imagine you going there in the evening when this thing has been going on and on. They've been running this fry pan or deep oil for the whole day. You are in big trouble down the road. You see your life at risk. And then later on you start accusing people for witchcraft. There's no witchcraft here. It's a simple common sense. However, it's important to distinguish between these artificial trans fats and trans fats that occur naturally in foods such as meat and dairy products. These have not been shown to have some negative health effect as those found in fried and processed food. Now, eating fried foods may increase your risk of disease. Like I said above. Several studies in adults have found an association between eating fried foods and the risk of chronic disease. Generally speaking, eating more fried food is associated with a greater risk of developing type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. So you see the three conditions that would occur to you if you make use of BHB or puff beans and pap when you are over 40 years, over 30 years of age, like I said initially. Heart disease. Eating fried foods may contribute to high blood pressure, low HDL, which is the good one, the good cholesterol, and obesity, all of which are risk factors for heart disease. In fact, two large and older observational studies found that the more often people ate fried foods, the greater their risk of developing heart diseases. So that's another thing which like I said, the next disease now is diabetes. Several older studies have found that eating fried foods increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So it's left for you if you actually want to, then you have yourself to blame. You don't accuse anyone for witchcraft here. Those consuming 4 to 6 servings of fried food per week were 39% more likely to develop type 2 diabetes than those consuming less than 1 serving per week. So just to make you understand that if you are consuming the BHB just once a week, then that's okay. But if you make it every day, I bet you are a candidate for diabetes, obesity, heart disease, stroke, and you can name the rest. Fried foods contain more calories than their non-fried counterparts, so eating a lot of them can significantly increase your calorie intake. This can contribute to weight gain. Furthermore, studies indicate that the trans fat in fried foods may play a significant role in weight gain, as they can affect the hormones that regulate appetite and fat storage. So that's where the trouble comes in here. Your hormones now, they go banana, so it becomes challenging in regulating them. Regardless of whether it is due to high calorie content or high trans fat content, multiple observational studies have shown a positive association between fried food intake and obesity. Now, fried food may contain harmful acrylamide. This is another thing here that people don't know, so I should stress more on this. Acrylamide is a toxic substance that can form in food during high temperature cooking, such as frying, roasting, or baking. So acrylamide is one of those agents that is advanced glycation end product. It is formed by a chemical reaction between sugars and an amino acid called asparagine. Starchy foods such as fried potato, puff product, and baked goods typically have higher concentration of acrylamide. And although animal studies suggest that it poses a risk of several types of cancer, however, most of these earlier studies use very high doses of acrylamide, that's from 1,000 to 100,000 times the average amount that the human body would be exposed to through diet. While a handful of human studies have investigated acrylamide intake, the evidence is mixed. Now, safer frying oils and alternative cooking methods. If you enjoy the taste of fried food, consider cooking them at home using healthier oils and alternative frying method. So I will go here and again explain to you for healthy oils, the type of oil used for frying heavily influences the health risk associated with fried food. Some oils can withstand much higher temperature than others and are therefore safer to use. Generally speaking, oils that consist mostly of saturated and monosaturated fats are the most stable when heated. Coconut oil, olive, avocados oils are among the safest and most stable for frying. I repeat it again. Coconut, olive, and avocado oils are the safest. So if you can have access to avocado, here I'm referring to pear, which you find in Africa, everybody has it. Oil comes out of it also, so that's the good news. Coconut oil, more than 90% of the fatty acid in coconut oil are saturated, which means this oil is very resistant to heat. Olive oil, which in Cameroon I doubt if people have it, but for avocado oil, that one for sure you will have it. So that's the message for you people. Please take this serious and do things as I've been said. Share the video with your loved one. Once more, my name is Dr. Wan. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Ciao.